Hello, I'm Benett Axtell, and I'll be presenting our work on Multimedia-Enabled 911, exploring 911 callers' experience of call-taker-controlled video calling in simulated emergencies. During an emergency, civilians generally call a standard number to reach a dispatch center and get the help needed. Across North America, this number is 911. On calling 911, they'll be connected with a call taker that uses an emergency response script, which is structured like a question tree. This is used to control the call to gather the needed information and dispatch the needed help efficiently. And it's also used to calm the caller anxiety and panic, which is common in an emergency situation. Recently, multimedia has been used during large-scale emergencies like natural disasters. Dispatch centers have used social media like X, formerly Twitter, to gather pictures showing the same scene from different points of view. And this can show more detail more quickly than verbal descriptions, and allow call takers to assess the scene themselves. However, small-scale emergencies, like a minor car crash or a house fire, are still limited to audio only. Here, a caller must describe everything to a call taker, and this is prone to communication barriers when there's language differences or when there's audio issues. It's also prone to emotional responses, as the caller can often be stressed or panicked in the unfamiliar situation of calling 911. In our ongoing project of Multimedia-Enabled 911, or ME 911, we explore this by asking, how can we bring video calling and other modern smartphone features to emergency calling? In our earlier work, we gathered the needs and desires of both call takers and 911 callers with regard to ME 911. From the perspective of call takers, we learned that video is expected to reduce the reliance on callers for verbal description. And call takers will also need to extend their control of the call over the camera work and multimedia features introduced. They also see the potential for sharing multimedia both ways, in situations of poor connection on the caller's side or for guiding callers through emergency procedures like CPR. From the caller's perspective, they see a chance to reduce the pressure on them, the callers, to accurately describe the scene. And they want better support for describing the location of the emergency and directions, as this is still largely done verbally. They also see the need for call takers to guide them through use of multiple unfamiliar features in a high anxiety setting, as this is often still the case with only the limited features of audio calling. Additionally, both groups had privacy concerns, which we touch on later. In this current work, we developed 4 ME 911 design principles. These are call taker direction of camera work, call taker control over the caller interface, two-way media sharing, and caller location finding with map support. For call taker direction of camera work, this is based in the existing need for call taker control, and we extend that control onto the video calling and new multimedia features, as the caller won't be able to move the caller's camera or control what's on the screen. Once the camera is enabled by the caller, the camera work is directed by the call taker, including panning, zooming, and capturing media. And this can be done through on-screen text and icons as well as verbally for cases where the scene is too noisy or it's unsafe to speak. For call taker control over the caller interface, we again extend that call taker control now onto the availability of features, as having many new multimedia features at once can be overwhelming and distract callers from the task at hand. So here we limit the caller access to only the necessary tools, which can be enabled and disabled by the call taker, allowing the caller to focus on the task at hand. Two-way media sharing is a way to fill gaps in video calling. Callers can share previously captured media, such as an emergency that was filmed before calling 911, or can capture and share a still image during the call, such as when cell service is low quality and the video call is too choppy. Additionally, call takers can share instructional videos for emergency procedures like CPR to verbally and visually guide callers through those procedures. Finally, for caller location finding with map support, as location data can still be quite inaccurate, and the location of the caller might not actually be the scene of the emergency, such as a caller on an overpass looking down at a car crash, we integrate a map with landmarks to support their verbal description of directions to that emergency. Overall, the needs of ME 911 design are often departing from common design norms. Calling 911 is already an unfamiliar activity. It's not something done with regularity or even once a year. Because of this, call takers control the call to guide callers through that unfamiliar experience. Similarly, users are likely to always be unfamiliar with the interface of ME911 apps. All of this requires the design to depart from common design norms, and we base our assessment around this. We ask, how do callers respond to the non-standard design choices and the call taker control of ME911? For our assessment, we had 20 participants, 5 of whom had previously called emergency services, and they viewed emergency footage on immersive screen displays in order to imagine themselves in those scenarios, and used a prototype ME911 app to mock call 911, with a researcher acting as a call taker, using adapted emergency response scripts to include the camera work and other features. We gathered 5 videos of actual minor emergencies to use for our scenarios, each touching on a different aspect of ME911 design. A house fire focused on directing camera work, a large truck fire on the highway explored using the map-supported directions, an unconscious person had a call taker sharing instructional videos, a multiple vehicle collision had the caller sharing a previously recorded video, and a shop robbery explored on-screen instructions when it's unsafe to speak. From this assessment, we have several takeaways for multimedia-enabled emergency calling. First, considering designing for call taker control. We saw emotional responses delaying the caller interactions, even given the simulated setting of our assessment. And our caller participants were comforted by the call taker control over the interface and the call that allowed them to focus at the task at hand, even with those feelings of stress and anxiety. We also saw that the non-normative design elements, such as the buttons appearing and disappearing, can be confusing without very clear guidance from the call taker, and find that these designs need high visibility to easily direct their attention. So when designing for call taker control, we need to also consider the updated emergency response scripts that include guiding through camera work and finding video features, and overall supporting the unfamiliar design. Next, we consider caller collaboration with the call taker. Whereas audio-only 911 calling is largely directed by the call taker, we saw the caller playing a more collaborative role in our assessment. Callers would direct the call taker attention using their voices or their camera work, such as panning or zooming on what they thought the call taker might have missed. And they also struggled to understand when they should introduce this information without interrupting the script. Additionally, using the map, giving directions was still largely described verbally, even with the visual map support. The landmarks provided weren't clear enough to guide callers to which of that information might be useful for the call taker to give directions. So in designing for the caller collaboration, we see that callers will have a more collaborative role during 911 video calls, and designs need to know how to encourage that only at appropriate times without delaying the call taker's time-sensitive work. Looking into privacy concerns, the concerns of our participants were largely mirroring already known concerns from audio-only 911 calling. They had concerns about bystanders or others being seen in shared videos, and about protecting themselves and others in dangerous situations. Considering the video calling of ME911 and privacy concerns around that, we need to plan for emergency video calling and sharing by looking to similar experiences of video streaming, like from professional streamers. Overall, we've seen that the call taker control of our ME911 design supports callers through that unfamiliar design and the anxiety they feel around it. We also see the importance that this must be designed with parallel changes made throughout 911 systems, and an ME911 app cannot be introduced on its own. Thank you for listening.